Hello everyone, hope all of you are feeling well today. Today we're going to make cauliflower steaks on a bed of white beans with caramelized onions and a pomegranate glaze. It sounds complicated, it's really easy and super delicious. So let's start with first cooking up the white beans. We're just going to dump the white beans. They've been soaking, and we're going to throw in the white beans with some water. The water was rinsed. You want to drain the water and add new water. So I had already done that. We're going to add a little bit more just to make sure that you have enough water in there. So I'm using an Instapot. It just goes faster. You're welcome to cook your beans on the stovetop or use canned cannellini beans. They're not as delicious as the fresh ones, but whatever is working for you that day. So I'm just going to cook these based on the settings in the Instapot called beans. You are welcome to cook your beans in the manner that suits you best, so you can adjust the timings. You need approximately 30 minutes on high to get them nice and tender. These machines differ a little bit, so if you have a different experience, please use that experience to your advantage. All right, one red onion. Peel the red onion. And throw the onion peels in your compost pile. You're going to turn on the stove to a medium high. We're going to put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here. And we're going to go ahead and start to caramelize these onions. Now I've got 1 onion here, but I think I'm actually going to do 2 because I love the flavor of caramelized onions. Okay, so while the onions are happening and the beans are happening, we're going to get our cauliflower going. So slice them thick. About half an inch thick at least. We're going to turn on the cast iron pan here. And again, add olive oil liberally. You want to add about 2 tablespoons. So while that pan is heating up, I'm going to go ahead and peel my garlic. And we need about 4 cloves of garlic. Okay, so that is getting nice and hot. We're going to go ahead and just put these into the pan. I have about 5 cloves of garlic here. So I have not salted the cauliflower because while it's searing, you don't want it to release water. You want to keep it just plain, and after you've gotten it to that nice brown golden color, then you can go ahead and add whatever spices you want to. So I'm just letting it cook in the oil without any salt, pepper, or anything. Meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and start with our pomegranate glaze. So turn your pan on to a nice low. I'm going to add some olive oil, about half a teaspoon. Throw it into the pan. When you see that the garlic has started cooking, that's when we're going to start to add anything else. We're just going to flip the cauliflower. You can see it's starting to get nice and golden. garlic. You can see the garlic is starting to heat up. You want to add a little bit of salt. We want to add a little bit of crushed black pepper. While my sauce is cooking here, I'm going to go ahead and remove the cauliflower from the pan and cook the rest of it when I serve. So we'll take this out. We are going to add a little bit of red wine into the sauce. Let that cook down. That's about half a cup. A little bit of pomegranate molasses. And that is about a quarter cup. This has a sweet, sour, tangy taste. It is really delicious. So into this glaze, we're also going to add a little bit of jaggery, which is unrefined cane sugars. About 4 tablespoons. If you don't have this, you can also use molasses. Gives the same nice deep flavor. We're going to add a few whole red chilies into the onions. Add as many or as few as you like. In other words, if you don't want these, don't add them. We'll add a little bit of salt into the caramelized onions so they start to release their water. Now they have a little bit of sear on them, so you can add the salt. We're going to add a little bit of thyme into the onions. All right, when you start to see that it's kind of coming together and incorporating nicely, we're going to add a little bit of arrowroot powder or cornstarch to thicken up the glaze a little bit. So I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of arrowroot powder, a little bit of water, and make a slurry before I add it into the glaze. Yep, boiling. So I'm going to turn that off. Go ahead and throw it in and let it stir. So into the onions, I'm going to add a couple of grape tomatoes just for color and a little bit of zest. So just slice those into half. I have about a quarter cup here. Into the onions. So you can see this is thickened up beautifully. Makes a really nice, rich, earthy glaze with the pomegranates and garlic and black pepper. So the tomatoes and onions are just cooking in the residual heat. All right, to finish up the beans, we're going to go ahead and add the beans to the onions. So medium heat, we're going to add the beans to the onions. You can see the beans have thoroughly softened. I'm using butter beans. You can use whatever beans you like. So we're going to go ahead and add them in. All right, go ahead and add them in. Stir it around. Let's add a little bit of nutritional yeast. So about 2 tablespoons. Stir it around. We'll add a little bit of cashew cream to just bring all the flavors together. I'm going to say about 2 teaspoons. Stir that up, and you can see it's coming together beautifully. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this all together. We'll start with our beans as the bed. We're going to go ahead and add the cauliflower, nice and browned. We're going to add our glaze.